my friend to call when things were difficult, and a person who delivered two of my children who are also not named James, but they're both girls as well. He was also the guy that convinced my son to go to Acadia University. He was fiercely proud of his days at Acadia and also at Queen's. And he would find a way to get his way. That was one of the parts of him that I thought was really remarkable. He wasn't always easy. He was always very real, though, and you knew that if you were greeted by a squinty blue-eyed smile or a squinty blue-eyed grimace, which I can do pretty perfectly, that either you made a rookie mistake or you nailed it. His words were always spot on as well. He didn't mince words, and he would let you know. But through all of that, one of the things that was very remarkable is that he had a lot of friends, and each of these friends, he was generous with his time with them, and he was invested emotionally in all of the interactions. When you had an interaction with him, I think that the connections that he made there were the greatest gift that he gave. It's the currency of friendships that makes life worth living, and it's something that he did in spades. The first thing I clued into with Jim, and in fact all the rest of the family, many of whom are here right now, is that they were blessed with an amazing, amazing ability to recall things. The tiniest of details. Photographic memory is what I'm talking about with Jim. I could ask him about medications or issues and surgical histories from his patients that he hadn't seen for 10, 15 years. And before I could, he didn't have to look at a single medical record to access these facts. The stories, the trivia about people, he could do that without anything at all. And he demanded and commanded the same sort of diligence and dedication and availability of all of the rest of us at the hospital. But he led by example. He was a leader in this community for 50 years, and even though after he retired, I'm here to tell you that he continued to provide me with consultation and advice until the week before his death. I was still asking him about specific patients and things that I'd seen in the emergency to get his view on it. And he followed in the traditions of Dr. Leckie and Dr. Torrey, some of the full-service rural generalists that would make house calls and delivered thousands of babies across 2 or 3 generations. He healed and guided families throughout life and death, and I had the pleasure to work alongside him in the emergency department, where he was one of our emerge docs, in the OR, in obstetrics, neonatal resuscitation, as well as the leadership goals. I'm the current chief of staff at the hospital, and he was also the chief of staff, president of medical staff. But he did every role, and even till the last days, he was always offering up his time and his efforts to try to make things better all the time. He commanded this attention for his skill and also his candor. He would call, like I said, he would call people out and say, it took you 15 minutes to get here. I was looking for you 5 minutes ago, and people would accept that because it was always real. He brought in the first chemotherapy units in the treatments to the Lakewood Woods District Hospital, making it possible for people to get care in the community and afford people with the gift of time with their loved ones. His golden retrievers also made it up not just to obstetrics, but to chemo, to the hospital rounds, and one of the many joys that he offered the rest of the community, and was very far ahead of his time. I'm hoping that we can get that back someday. Over the decades, he made so many palliative care visits to patients at home and in the hospital. We've got the Kenora Community Hospice named in his honor, a tribute that to the quiet dignity he offered those at the end of life. He was also a builder. He started the Kenora Medical Center, now the Patterson Medical Center, and helped assemble the physician team that shaped how care was given in the region. And he always forged very strong relationships with the First Nations communities, well before the formal pathways existed, and he just showed up. He showed up with some of his other members of the family and flew into Wapsamoong back in the day and started what has now become the All Nations Health Partnership, which he supported very strongly. When he reached out to fly to White Dog and get things moving, this really provided the seeds for all of the outreach that we're doing these days. So I'm going to talk a little bit about a personal moment that I had with him. One of the most validating moments in my whole career came when I was asked to care for him when he was critically ill. He let me know that he fully trusted me and thanked me for caring for him. And his exact words, I can remember pretty close. I don't think I'm straying. He said, "I hope you do a better job looking after me than I have." And I assured him that his colleagues would find intubating him a little easier than if he did it himself, because he had offered that up as well. Again, these tongue-in-cheek words always carried a modicum of humor, but they were instructions to heed. He would want me, and he did want me and others to care the way that he cared. So again, he was inspirational for so many of us in the medical community. He's challenged us to continue to be as good as we can be. And many of us treasure the time that we spent together sorting out the intellectual and patient conundrums like no other colleague that we've ever had. So with that, I'd like to pass the microphone to Bob and Duncan next. And thank you very much. And again, I'm very, very touched by the words that were said before me. And we're not going to do any of the inappropriate stories just yet.